Everyone have their Bibles? No. Um, yeah, if you don't have a Bible, go grab an extra one by this table. See, there's like 20 Bibles. So you don't have a Bible, this is your chance to get up and get one. Skylar, she's not the only one. Lots of people forget their Bibles. Okay, hey, who knows God works in some crazy ways? Yeah? Have you guys ever experienced God working in crazy ways? Yeah? Well, last week, God showed me He works in crazy ways when you least expect it and completely threw me off guard. Does He ever throw you off guard sometimes? Okay, totally happened to me last week. So I was on my day off, and since it's been really cold out, I get really bored at home because there's nothing to do. And so I like to tinker. I like to tinker with my hands. So I found this old lamp in my house and found another old lamp and combined the two and made it into one. I know, crazy. That's not the story. But, so, we're getting there. I'm in my garage, I'm working, tinkering around, and then my roommate came home. He's getting his boat ready to go hunting. So the garage door's open. We're just kind of chilling, talking. All of a sudden we hear this car drive by and goes, roll, 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 roll. Does anybody know what that sound means? Yeah, flat tire. Oh, you guys are good. Okay, so he has a flat tire. It's driving down the street, and we're just going, oh, man, that's a bummer. So he pulls in, he stops, and we're like, why does he keep driving on it? So then we see him stop, then he pulls back, and then he starts turning into our street, and you could just tell he's like, he's going to stop because he sees us outside. And you ever get that feeling where you should help somebody, but inside your head you're just like, I really don't want to help this person right now. I really don't want to just go out there and waste my time helping somebody. Am I the only one? Please tell me I'm not the only one that has this bad feeling. Okay, that's what I thought. So they pull up, and then he gets out, and he's like, hey, I saw the fire license tags, and I know you guys probably have an air compressor. So yeah, we have an air compressor. He's like, can you help me air my tire? I was like, and so I knew my roommate, he really wanted to go hunting, so I was like, okay, fine, I'll go help him. Hey, Alex, I got it. You can get your boat ready, I'll go hunting. So I walk up to the guy, and the tire's completely off the rim, shredded. And I'm like, you're not going to be able to air that up. I'm sorry. I was like, but I'd love to help you put the spare on and help you get you on your way. And then he kind of looks at it, he's like, but that is the spare. I was like, oh. So then he shows me the other tire that's also flat in the back of his trailer. So he's like, are there any tire stores around? And I said, yeah, there's two. There's a Big O. They probably have them in stock, and if not, we can go to Walmart. So I call Big O. Big O doesn't have them in stock. I said, okay, well, why don't we try Walmart? So I call Walmart, and they have two tires in stock. Okay, so if you remember, he already has a flat tire, and he can't drive to go to Walmart. So I tell the dude, I was like, hey, they have two in stock. And so he's kind of looking, rubbing his chin. And in the back of my head, I was like, I know this guy needs a ride. And I was like, why do I want to spend time helping this guy go to Walmart? So I was like, do you need a ride? And he's like, oh, yeah, man, if you could take me up there, I'd love that. I was like, all right, we'll take your tire off. We'll go in the back of my car, and then we'll go to Walmart. So then two other guys come out of his car and start walking to my car. And I was like, oh, okay, well, you guys are going to be a little cramped back there, but we'll get the tire and two of you in the back and then one in the front. So here we are, two people I don't know. They're all strangers, never met these people, so it's kind of scary. We're driving my car, and you got two guys sitting on each other's lap and this big tire in the back of my car. So I'm like, okay, this is cool. So then we drive up to Walmart, and we get out, and he says, hey, thanks for the ride. Are you going to be heading out? And I said, well, don't you need to get back? And he's like, well, yeah. And I was like, I'll stay. I'll help you wait until you get your tire done. So like, oh, that's awesome. And so they said it'll take about 45 minutes, and then he says, okay. He's like, man, are you hungry? Because it was about 1:30, 2 o'clock, and I was like, I'm fine. We don't have to get anything. But the two other guys like, oh, I'm starving. So we're like, well, why don't we just walk over to Subway? So we walk to Subway, and then they have the Subway and Walmart, they have this sign saying, we'll be back soon. So we're standing there going, well, what does soon mean? And so we start asking people, hey, does anybody know when this person's coming back? And everyone's like, I don't know. So we're like, okay, we'll go to Burger King. So we go to Burger King, and the older guy was super nice to buy me some lunch for my time. So that was really nice. So in the midst of all this, we start talking, obviously. When you're stuck with somebody for over an hour, eating lunch with strangers, you kind of get to know each other out pretty well. So we start talking, and one of the guys, he started telling me about stories how he's in the Army. I was like, oh, really? And so he's telling me about this bomb that he had to that they found, and he was a bomb engineer, so they called him, and he had to be the one to come disassemble it. So they call him, they come disassemble it. He's working on it, doing his thing. And all of a sudden, I heard this, and then like just everybody stopped. And he said, everything that just happened at that moment, that bomb should have blown up, but it didn't. I was like, whoa, that's crazy, man. Like, that's a crazy story. Like, dude, you almost lost your life that. And he's like, yeah, I know, it was crazy. And so I was like, okay, cool. Everybody has like one story like that. So then he starts telling me about more. And he goes, yeah, I got in a motorcycle wreck one time too. And I was like, oh, really? I got in a motorcycle wreck. And I was like, but I just got 5 stitches. And he's like, and then he was telling me, he's like, yeah, I got in a wreck and I had to go to Omaha for 2 months. And I had so bad brain damage that I had to go through rehab. And then he had to relearn everything. He had to relearn walking. He had to relearn talking. He had to relearn how to eat. So he literally had to relearn everything. And so I'm just like, whoa, like, dude, this guy's got like crazy stories. Like, hey, dude, how many lives do you have left? But so we're talking. And then we're just kind of talking, and he goes, and I was like, okay, so like, now that you're done with the army and all this stuff, now that you're recovered, and he showed me a video of him going through the recovery. So like, I know he's legit. And when you talk to this guy, you would never know he ever had brain damage or had to relearn everything. But so we're talking, and he just starts talking to me, and he goes, yeah. So I was like, so what do you want to be now? He said he wants to be a motivational speaker. And after hearing his testimony, like, I totally understand why. He's overcome so many obstacles. And he said at the moment, he's helping some 3rd or 4th graders at his church, like, run a basketball group and stuff. So they play basketball, they teach basketball, and they have a little Bible study. So I was like, man, that's so cool. Like, I work with the youth group at my church, and so we start sharing, interacting, and realizing that we have a lot of similar things in common. And then same with the older guy. The older guy's, he's probably like 50, and then the 2 other guys are about 25 to 30. And so as we talk, I can tell the older guy has a very strong foundation in his faith, and then the other guy that's gone through all the wrecks, he has a very strong foundation in his faith. And the other guy, like, I forget his name, but he kind of he's kind of checked out the whole time. He never really talked, but it was just cool because then on the way back, we get the tire and we start talking, and we start bringing up church and God, and then the other guy that didn't talk about anything just kind of starts asking. So he's like, I never really understood the whole God thing. And so it just opened up this great opportunity, and I didn't really have to say anything, but it opened up a great opportunity for the 2 guys that knew him to just start ministering to him and talking to him. And like in that 10-15 minute ride back to my house, like, he's like, man, like that makes sense. Like, that's really cool. So like, it just gave them a perfect opportunity to share the gospel with their friend that they work with. And then so we get to my house, we put the tire on, I help them put it on and whatnot, and they were just super grateful, and they said, hey, this is such a blessing. It's just crazy that you were here and were able to help us. And they said, thank you so much for your time. And then so I was fortunate enough to say, hey, I really appreciate, like, it was cool meeting you guys. I was crazy how God works. I'd love to pray with you. So I actually got to pray with them, and it's just like, after everything was done, like, looking back 2 hours before that, when I was just tinkering in my garage, like, I never thought God would have, like, done anything like that, and just brought these 3 strangers, and then gave me this opportunity just to meet people that share the same faith as me, where we could encourage each one another and share testimonies. So I just thought that was really cool. Story of my last week. That was a highlight of my last week. Just wanted to share. The funny thing is it had nothing to do with the lesson. I just wanted to share that because it's so cool. But I do need 2 volunteers. 1 volunteer to pass out pens, and then 1 to pass out notes. If you will pass out notes, you can come up here. I'll give them for you. And pens. Yes. Pass out pens. And Mike, could you pull up my presentation, please? Yeah, that one. Can everybody see the presentation okay if I like stand here and move around a little bit? All right, and we're going to be talking out of Genesis 25. So if you have your Bibles, just go ahead and flip over to Genesis 25, and that's kind of where we'll be at. Yes. Click, click, click. So does everyone see the picture of the two cartoon guys up here? This picture will make more sense in about 10 minutes. What? Just raise your hand. Ask nicely. Say please and thank you. Perfect. Thank you. Everybody got a piece of paper and pen. Piece of paper, pen. I know you're looking at my armpit because you smelled it earlier. Okay. Okay, Jacob and Esau. Esau. Okay, so I don't know about you guys, but when I first saw that, I thought that said Ezu, and Reg had to correct me. And I was like, so yeah, I'm teaching on Jacob and Ezu. It's Esau. Okay, so Jacob and Esau. Everyone say it. Jacob, Esau. Esau. Okay, Jacob and Esau. This is the story of Esau. Has anybody heard the story of Jacob and Esau? Okay, it's not. I don't know if it's a really that familiar one. It's in the Old Testament. Genesis chapter 25 is where it starts. All right, next slide. Okay, quick overview. So before Jacob and Esau, you have Isaac and Rebekah. Isaac is the dad, Rebekah is the wife. And so, they get married. They do the whole married thing. You guys got to stop. Thanks. Okay. Isaac and Rebekah do the whole married thing. And so when you get married, a lot of people like to have kids. So they say, hey, let's have a kid. And so they try having a kid, and they're old, and Rebekah can't conceive. So Isaac prays, God, please give me a kid. So they're praying and praying and praying, saying, God, please give me a kid. And God finally blesses them with twins. Next. Okay, so in the womb. Babies in the womb. Babies are in the womb now. So in Genesis 25:23, if you guys want to follow along, struggles start to begin. She already feels struggles in the womb. It says, and the Lord said to her, 2 nations are in your womb. 2 peoples from within you shall be divided. The one shall be stronger than the other. The older shall serve the younger. So when we see in that verse, we see the 2 inside. They're already they're fighting. They're starting to divide because they're never going to get along. They're fighting. They're fighting for a particular thing. Next. And, okay, so when they start coming out, Esau, he's the first one to come out. Esau's the first one to come out, and he's very hairy. Very hairy. And he's a skillful hunter. And they call him, I don't really know why, but they said because he's hairy, they named him Esau. So I guess Esau means like very hairy. So, important. This is important. That's why it's red. Important. Esau is the first one. So since he is first, he receives the birthright. And the birthright was a huge deal back in that day. Because when you got the birthright, you got it was a special thing for the firstborn. You received double portion of your family's inheritance, and you're given honor of becoming the family leader. So that's like me saying, Jacob, you were the firstborn. I have won $1 million. So you'll be getting 500,000 of that. And I don't know, I got like 20 video games, so you can have 10 of that. And I guess I'll give you 10 of my Snickers bars. Something like that. So it's pretty cool. And you get to be the leader. So one day that I'm going to be the man. You're the man. You're going to be the man because you're the firstborn. If you're the firstborn, which you are. So you're like the man, right? You're the firstborn in your family. So back in this day, you'd be the man. So next. So remember I said Esau's really hairy? So this is when they when I read that in the Bible, this is the first thing that came to my head. It's a video if you can play it. So this is just what went through my head. I got kind of a creative brain. Oh, okay. Dang it. No go? Okay. Have you ever seen the commercial about Harry Rob Lowe? And like the guy walks in and is like, "Hey, I'm Rob Lowe," and then the other guy walks in, "I'm Harry Rob Lowe," and he looks like that. That's Harry Rob Lowe. And the funny part is like he puts his arm up against the wall and he's like, "I have hair curtains." He just has like 10 inches of hair just coming off his arms, and in that one he's got a hairbrush stuck in it. But so that was the first thing that came to my mind when they said Esau was really hairy. So we can move on. So now we know Esau is really hairy, firstborn, and he has the birthright. That's important. Remember that. So Jacob was second, but he's only second by a little bit. Okay? So when Jake, I know. Sorry, I just said you're first, but actually I guess you're second. Okay, so Jacob was second, but just by a little bit. So when we're reading, if you're reading through the story, he's actually holding on to Esau's heel as he's coming out. So like Esau comes out, "Rah!" And then you got Jacob like, "Ah!" And so they're like fighting to come out first. That's like how bad. Like just imagine Jacob trying to like pull Esau in because they want to be first. They were fighting for that birthright already, even though they didn't like really know it, I guess. Remember, Esau was a hairy man. He was a skillful hunter. But Jacob was more of a quiet guy, and he was more reserved, and he stayed back in the tent. Another important thing to know is Rebekah's favorite son was Jacob, and Isaac's favorite son was Esau, because Esau was a skillful hunter. Isaac liked that he was a hunter. Okay, next. Hangry. Who knows what it means to be hangry? Oh, yeah. You like become a different person, don't you? So, like, you get hungry, and so, like, people are like, "Alan, you're so nice." And then like, "Oh, dude, you don't want to see me when I'm hangry," because I'll just like, "Rah!" Like these like weird animal noises are coming out or something. I don't know. Totally different person. Everyone agreed? Does that everybody make sense? Everybody get hangry? I get super hangry. Yeah, get a Snickers bar. So Genesis 25:33. We're going to talk about when Esau gets a little hangry and when hunger can affect the decisions you make. So Genesis 25:30-33. Let's see. Okay, Genesis 25:30-33. And Esau said to Jacob, "Let me eat some of that red stew, for I'm exhausted." Jacob said, "Sell me your birthright." Now, Esau said, "I'm about to die. Of what use is a birthright to me?" Jacob said, "Swear to me now." So he swore to him and sold him his birthright to Jacob. So I guess he was really hungry because he clearly forgot how important his birthright was. So I guess he was so hungry that he put that aside and said, "It's not important to me. I'd rather have food right now." So in the moment, he was more focused on that food. So notes. Get your pens out. Here's where the notes come in. What do we learn from this about Esau being hangry? Immediate pleasure often loses sight of the future. That's important. Remember that. Immediate pleasure often loses sight of the future. When Esau walked in, he was so hungry that all he could think about was getting food, that he lost sight of his consequences that he would face in the future by selling his birthright. So how can we apply this to our immediate lives right now? So in our current lives, does our immediate pleasure is our immediate pleasure for money, peer acceptance, sex, technology, food? I mean, you name it. So like in the moment, I might be doing something so bad for just a little bit of money that maybe I'm sacrificing so much time with other people so I can earn $1. Or maybe I say, "Man, that is like the coolest pair of shoes I've ever seen. I don't have the money, but I'm going to buy them, put myself in debt just so I can have them." Peer acceptance. What are we doing? Are we doing things that maybe we're not thinking about in the future to be accepted by our peers? So a guy comes up, "Hey man, come up to this party, Alan. We're going to go be drinking all night long." And so my immediate pleasure, it's like, man, I want these guys to like me. I want to be friends with them. So I might say, "Yeah, let's do it." And then, I mean, who knows what that could lead into later. Because of our immediate pleasures or immediate desires, we often lose sight of future consequences. All right, next. So, if you're paying attention, Jacob now has what? The birthright. Yes. Okay, so remember, Esau started with the birthright because he was the firstborn. But then he was so hungry that he sold his birthright to Jacob. Next. All right, so now we're going to jump ahead in the story. So Isaac was old. That's why he had trouble conceiving. But now he's really old, and he's blind. He knows he's about to croak, like any minute. So he calls in Esau because he knows he's about to croak. He wants to give Esau his blessing. So Genesis 27, 2 through 5. Genesis 27, 2 through 5. My Bible shut on me. Hold on. All right, so he calls Esau in. He says, "Behold, I am old. I do not know the day of my death. Now then, take your weapons, your quiver and your bow. Go out to the field and hunt game for me, and prepare for me delicious food, such as I love, and bring it to me, so that I may eat, that my soul may bless you before I die." So he gives Esau this request to go out, get him food, hunt his game, bring it back to me, and I'm going to bless you. I'm going to give you my blessing before I die. So, but remember, if you're paying attention, Rebecca, who's her favorite son? Jacob. Okay, so Rebecca overhears the conversation that Isaac's going to bless Esau. Well, Rebecca's saying, no, I don't want Esau to get it. Jacob's my favorite, so I'm going to go tell Jacob because what Isaac just told, or their dad just told Esau. So next. So the plan. They come up with a plan. Rebecca wants Jacob to receive the blessing, because remember, Jacob's her favorite. So they plan to trick Isaac. So they come up with this plan to trick Isaac into thinking that he is Esau. So Genesis 27, 11 through 17. Man, my Bible keeps shutting. Okay, Genesis 27, 11 through 17. But Jacob said to Rebekah, his mother, "Behold, my brother Esau is a hairy man." Remember, he's really hairy. "And I am a smooth man. Perhaps my father will feel me, and I shall seem to me mocking him and bring a curse upon myself and not a blessing." His mother said to him, "Let your curse be on me, my son. Only obey my voice and go and bring them to me." So he went and took them and brought them to his mother. And his mother prepared delicious food, such as his father loved. Then Rebekah took the best garments of Esau, her older son, which were with her in the house, and put them on Jacob, her younger son. And the skins of the young goats she put on his hands and on the smooth part of his neck. And she put the delicious food and the bread, which she had prepared, into the hand of her son Jacob. So they come with a plan. They do exactly what Isaac told Esau to do, except remember, Esau's hairy, Jacob's smooth. So they put all this goat fur on Jacob. I'm getting all my people mixed up. On Jacob. So that when he goes in case Isaac wants to feel him, because remember, he's blind, he can't see, they're hoping it'll trick him. All right, next. So I want to see how good you guys are. Can I get 3 volunteers? Megan. Can we get a guy? No guy. Oh, Gavin. Sorry, I didn't see you. Got up there. Okay. You on the right. Okay. So come stand up here and pretend you guys are pretend you guys are Isaac, and I'm gonna blindfold you guys, and I want you to try to guess the food. So I'm gonna blindfold you. I'm gonna have you stick your hand in some food. I want you to guess what it is. Okay? Okay, Gavin, you're first in line. I'm going to make you go first. Okay, so remember, they're trying to trick. So remember, Isaac's blind, and he's going to want to try to feel something. Okay, so next. Okay, so remember, we're going to look back on Jacob's thought. So remember when they're coming up with this plan to trick their dad, to put that hairy goat fur, because Esau's hairy? Okay, so when Rebecca was explaining the plan, Jacob was only worried about being caught. Jacob wasn't concerned that he was going to be dishonest to his dad. He wasn't concerned about the unmoral or the the bad moral decisions he was making. He was concerned about being caught. So I'm going to read a little side note that is in my Bible for it. Is really good. So how we react to a moral dilemma often exposes our real motives. Frequently, we are more worried about getting caught than about doing what is right. Jacob did not seem concerned about the deceitfulness of his mother's plan. Instead, he was afraid of getting in trouble while carrying it out. If you are worried about getting caught, you are probably in a position that is less than honest. Let your fear of getting caught be a warning to do right. Jacob paid a huge price for carrying out this dishonest plan. So next. Okay, notes. So what do we learn? If you are worried about getting caught, you are probably in a situation that is less than honest. So I know everyone's been there. We've all been in those situations where we really want to do something, but I'm really afraid mom and dad are going to find out. What kind of warning sign does that give you? Probably not a good idea. Okay. So if you're worried about getting caught, you're probably in a situation that is less than honest. So moving on, Jacob and Rebekah succeed. They were successful. Jacob came in and he prepared the meal. Isaac was like, "Oh wow, thank you so much for the food." He's like, "But how do I know it's really you, Esau?" So he said, "Come here, let me feel you." So he actually came and felt his arm. And Esau's hairy. He had the goat hair on, so they tricked him. He really thought that Jacob was Esau. So therefore, Isaac gave Jacob the blessing. So who has the birthright and the blessing now? Jacob. Okay, very good. So shortly afterward, Esau comes in and is going to perform the same request that Isaac had asked. And so he comes in and he said, Dad, I prepared the food. Here's your food. Bless me. Give me your blessing. And Isaac going, "What? I just blessed you." And he said, "No, that wasn't me. That must have been Jacob. He tricked you." So then they're both baffled. And Esau gets greatly upset because Jacob has tricked him. So go to Genesis 27:32 through 40. But Isaac asked him, "Who are you?" Esau replied, "It's your son, your firstborn son, Esau." Isaac began to tremble uncomfortably and said, "Then who just served me wild game? I have already eaten it, and I blessed him just before you came. And yes, that blessing must stand." When Esau heard his father's word, he let out a loud and bitter cry. "Oh, my father, what about me? Bless me too," he begged. But Isaac said, "Your brother was here, and he tricked me. He has taken away our blessing." Esau exclaimed, "No wonder his name is Jacob, for now he has cheated me twice. First he took my rights as the firstborn, and now he has stolen my blessing. Oh, haven't you saved even one blessing for me?" Isaac said, "Esau, I have made Jacob your master and have declared that all his brothers will be his servants. I have guaranteed him an abundance of grain and wine. What is left for me to give you, my son?" Esau pleaded, "But do you have only one blessing? Oh, my father, bless me too." Then Esau broke down and wept. Finally, his father Isaac said to him, "You will live away from the richness of the earth and away from the dew of the heaven above. You will live by your sword and you will serve your brother, but when you decide to break free, you will shake his yoke from your neck." So Jacob tricks him. Esau's furious because now he doesn't have his birthright or blessing. So Esau goes out for revenge. Esau's angry. He's angry. He wants revenge. So he later goes on to say that, "I'm going to kill Jacob." Genesis 27:41. From that time on, Esau hated Jacob because their father had given Jacob the blessing, and Esau began to scheme. "I will soon be mourning my father's death, then I will kill my brother Jacob." Oh, so Rebekah overhears this. Rebekah overhears Esau's plan to kill Jacob. And then Rebekah goes on to tell Jacob, "Jacob, you need to get out of here because Esau's going to kill you." So because of Esau's anger, Jacob has to flee. And then so Jacob goes way off this way. Esau's doing his own thing. They're two separate people. And so now they have this at first hatred relationship. They come back together. They're reconciled. But then they later on, the nations that they created are then still divided. So Esau's anger creates a long carried out cause and effect. Esau did out of anger. and everything that happened then went on to create way more later on. So what do we learn from Esau's anger? Jealous anger blinds us from seeing the benefits we have and makes us dwell on what we don't have. So jealous anger blinds us from seeing the benefits we have and makes us dwell on what we don't have. Life isn't fair. There's always going to be those times when other people get something that they don't deserve. I guarantee you, every single one of you has said, they don't deserve that. Am I right? Am I right? So how are you going to react? Obviously, Esau got really upset, and was it right what Jacob did? Absolutely not. But he's going to now go out and kill. He wants to go out and kill Jacob because of his anger. So how are you going to react when Gavin and I are taking a test, and I work my butt off to study for that, do everything right, and the whole time I see Gavin copying off his friend Billy, what's number 7? Thanks. Billy, 8. Okay, thanks. So he gets all the right answer. He passes. I fail, and I study, but yet he goes on and succeeds, all because he cheated, and I'm going, what in the heck? He doesn't deserve that. I don't know. So what else? Well, that's up to you to figure out. There's a lot more that happens between Jacob and Esau. This was just a tidbit of what happened in the beginning with Jacob and Esau when they were born. Birthright was taken away, which is a big part. So go on and read to figure it out. So let's recap practical lessons learned from this portion. Lesson 1, do not give in to the flesh. Remember, Esau gave in to his hungry desires, and because of his hangriness, he was super hungry, he becomes a different person. He then was willing to give up his birthright for food. Immediate pleasure often loses sight of the future. Lesson 2, think about the choices you make. Remember, if you are worried about getting caught, you are probably in a situation that is less than honest. So that moment when you decide you want to do something, and the thought that comes in my head, are the police going to catch me? Or my mom and dad going to catch me? I want to see like a big red flashing light going on back there. And do not let your anger control you in a negative way. Jealous anger blinds us from seeing the benefits we have and makes us dwell on what we don't have. So if we have jealous anger, it's going to make us do things that we shouldn't do, and don't let it control you. I think anger can be used for good. I think it can help motivate us to make a difference, maybe, to do good things. But that's up to you to make sure you don't use your anger to do something bad or negative. And that is the short story of Jacob and Esau. Thank you.